Okay, we are live with the Game Detectives. I am David, and I'm going to be playing Pokemon Crystal yet again. This time it is the all grass run through. So last episode, I got all the way through Violet City, and now I'm on my way to Azalea Town. Just need a little water. And just a reminder that I am raising funds for Fair Fight, which is an organization that helps people in Georgia get registered to vote, and it also fights against racist and classist legislation that tries to prohibit people to vote. And it's especially important because John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock are both in Georgia running in the runoffs for the Georgia Senate elections. And if both of them get elected on Tuesday, we will have a Democratic majority in the Senate. So I really recommend donating to the Fair Fight. You can follow the links on the description of the video. All donations that I will be receiving will be doubled by me, so I'm going to match your donation. And yeah, that way we will doubly help this awesome organization with getting the people we need elected into Congress and fighting for people who have been disenfranchised. Yesterday we raised $100, which is awesome. If anybody ever shows up today and wants to donate, they can feel free. And with that, I think it's time to get started to play some Pokemon Crystal. So let me pull this up. So last time around, I did this Pokemon. I caught 3 Pokemon. I got Stacy, my Hoppip, Raptor, my Chikorita, and Jamie, my Bellsprout. And I thought I was gonna evolve Hoppip last time, but turns out it did not work. So Hoppip is just gonna be level 15 for a little bit. I'm going to focus on Bellsprout this time around. Get Bellsprout up to a good level, especially, hopefully we can get Acid on Bellsprout, so then when we start facing Bug-type Pokemon, it'll have some moves against them. Moves against them to use. That will be awesome. Because right now, Jamie is struggling. It only has Vine Whip, and for some weird reason, Vine Whip only has 10 PP this time around. I think it gets changed next generation, actually, Generation 3. But this is what we're stuck with, so it's what we're going to do. Okay. Getting our Raptor up as well. I believe Chikorita actually evolves at 14. I think it evolves earlier than usual. I'm not sure. We'll see when that happens, though. Getting these grass Pokemon evolved is going to be definitely the most helpful thing. Because, oof, it's going to be rough until they do. I had a friend who reached out to me on Instagram, and he said that Jump Fluff is actually, beneficial, which I don't see how that's going to happen, unless it uses, Poison Powder, and I guess that might help, but, I'm not sure how beneficial Jump Fluff is actually going to be for my team. We'll see, I guess. I don't think it's going to be very beneficial. We'll see how high of a level these Pokemon are. Yeah, they're still pretty low. It's not going to be worth it to train on them. They're just so low levels, it's not going to be worth it. I think once we get to the cave, that'll be good, because then I can start beating up on some Geodudes. That same friend who told me that Jump Fluff is good, he asked if I was going to do a Nuzlocke, which, good lord. Doing a Nuzlocke with just Grass-type Pokemon, when it's my first time around doing this in Pokemon Crystal, is going to be would not be fun. Raptor's getting close to level 14. I think it evolves at level 14. I'm not entirely sure. But I do not want this Slowpoke tail. No, ma'am. Do not have $1 million. But we will get all healed up and ready to go. And we're going to go beat up on some... Just a second, I'm checking. Okay. These fishermen are going to be super easy. Which is very beneficial for me to have all grass Pokemon. Although at this point, Hoppip still only knows Tackle for its damaging moves, so that'll be interesting. It's good to see that the notification for the live stream finally showed up on my phone, so that's cool. I learned Wrap. That's something. That is a move. Wrap does damage. I don't think I'm gonna use it ever unless I am desperate for some kind of move. I doubt I'll ever actually use it at all. That's one of the things, that's one of the problems I have with the early generations. I mean, I think everybody at this point, or like Pokemon fans, know that the first generation is like a buggy mess, and that like if there weren't, I'm pretty sure if it weren't for like Generation 2 to significantly improve on Generation 1, that Pokemon would just like not be as big as it is now, because Generation 1 is such a big mess. So many glitches, so many things that aren't meant to be there, that were there, so many weird things like that weren't programmed successfully or in a way that was actually like communicated to the player, right? Like the critical hit ratio was determined by speed, which like might make sense, but if you don't tell that to the player, it doesn't make sense. And so Gen 2 improved on a lot of things, but the big problem I do have with Gen 2 is just that the move pools for a lot of these Pokemon are just not there. Like there's just not a lot of good moves for some of the types. So like for grass types, for example, we don't have a lot of high power moves that like Giga Drain only is 60 power. Solar Beam is 120, but it like prohibits you from moving for a turn, or you need to have Sunny Day Up, which is bad for grass types in general, because there are no oh gosh, what are they called? Abilities. There are no abilities this time around, so it's not even like you can get a boost from Chlorophyll. So like grass type moves in this generation and the first generation just aren't overall all that good. The same thing happens with Bug or a number of other types in this generation that just like don't have anything that's really like going to hit anything hard. Steel, I think the highest damaging Steel move is Iron Tail, which has a 75 base accuracy, which is probably the lowest out of any move that's up to like 100 power. So it's just overall not so good for some of these types this time around. Which also makes it harder then for this grass run through. The type matchups are bad, and then the moves that these Pokemon have are just really bad too. You find a lot of Pokemon with types like water, fire, electric, ground, and rock somewhat, fighting somewhat. They have much more powerful moves that also have more accuracy and are just overall more useful. So that makes this also a lot bigger of a challenge, because you're going to end up relying on not a lot of stab moves, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it just is what it is. Here, just a second. I'm going to pause this. I'm getting some notifications I don't want. There we go. But yeah, overall, it's just going to be a little difficult in terms of just like the stats of these Pokemon, the moves of these Pokemon, just are kind of, they belong in the rubbish bin. I swear Monica was just there, wasn't she? Who knows? Okay. Jamie is up to level 13. I know this next guy is a bird trainer, so I'm moving over to Raptor. To give Raptor a little time to shine. Now, I know Bellsprout doesn't evolve until much later. I think in the 20s at some point. So I'm not really going to focus on getting Bellsprout evolved this time around. But I definitely, by the end, hopefully by the time I battle Bugsy, my Raptor and Stacy are going to evolve. Or else we're just not going to have any kind of power. Like, see, this Spearow is just taking my team out. I was so lucky that that Falconer does not have a Spearow, because that attack power is just no joke at this point in the game. I also don't like how Tackle's a 95 accuracy move. Like, at that point, it should just be 100. I get the idea of, like, maybe adding a little bit of variety to it, but I don't think it's really needed. Especially when you have something like Scratch that's 100. Tackle should just be 100 at this point. Okay, I'm probably going to be spending a lot of time in Union Cave, and also Slowpoke Well, because this is going to be the prime spots for leveling up some of these Pokemon. Like, I can just take this Sandshrew and one-shot him. You know, if Razor Leaf would hit, that would be nice. Like last time, I have this at 1.5 speed, just because there's going to be a lot of level grinding, not going to be much, like, exciting action going on. And also, Gen 2 is just a little slow. That's the other thing I don't like too much about Gen 2, is that it is a tad slow. And I think Gen 5 overall is probably the fastest. And it might be in how they programmed it, but something that's a big problem with Generation 8 is just that it's so slow. And, like, even, like, the online, I can understand some justification for that being slow. Nintendo should have better servers just in general for all of their games, especially for Pokemon. But even in-game, battles are slow. I've turned off all the animations, and they're still just so slow. And I wish there was an option to speed it up a little more, because... especially, I think, like, even for the kids, right? Once you memorize kind of the type matchups and everything, you don't really need matches to be all that slow. Like, I feel like it just pads out the game in a way that it doesn't need to. Which then makes it boring. Which is part of why I think it's probably the worst gen after 1. Although some of their designs are just awesome. Some of the best designs in the past 3 generations have come from there. Little Sandshrew. He's a cutie. There we go. Okay, I think I'm gonna evolve now. Yes, there we go. Bailey, finally! We get to evolve! There we go. And let's see. Yeah, so, like, its attack is up to 30 now, which is much better than Hoppip. And what's even better is its defenses are awesome. And I'm going to be using that Reflect a lot over these next couple of areas, because, especially once we get to the gym, Bug type is a physical type. And it's just going to be much better for my team to have that Reflect up. Now this guy is a fire breather, if I believe. I think he has a coughing, maybe 2 coughings. So this will be a little bit of a challenge. I should not have brought in Jamie. We're gonna try Wrap just to see what happens. Oh my gosh, that does nothing. Okay, chip damage is terrible, so we're switching over to Stacy. And hopefully Stacy can... See, look, just... Coughing's defenses are just high because it is a gas bag. And Stacy's attack set is just so low. Which is also why it needs to evolve as soon as it can. And I'm really hoping to get it evolved before we fight. Before we even start the gym. I want to get it evolved. Because it is gonna not... It's not gonna be good if I don't evolve it before then. So, actually, why don't we put Stacy in front? Jamie can hold her own. Stacy cannot hold her own at all. So we're gonna have to train her up a little bit. It's definitely not worth it to fight any of these or spend a large amount of time on any of these. Now, if I remember, I think he has a Rhyhorn, actually. Oh, no, he has a Slowpoke. Which is good for us. We are gonna... This one is gonna be all about chip damage. Because if I do not poison him, I'm definitely gonna lose this. I'm probably gonna have to use a potion, too. Just to give me some breathing room. Now let's see what a tackle does when I'm technically at +2. Okay. Good enough for me. It'll definitely get me to level 6. I thought it was gonna get me to level 16. Ooh. Let's see what's going on down here. Forget what that TM is. I don't think it's anything helpful. I don't think so, but we can check it out. Hey, level 8 Rattata. Let's try it. Let's just see how much experience we can get off of this thing. There we go. Oh gosh, I think it actually evolves at level 18, which is just... Favorite Pokemon game? Sorry, Lap Abba, if your message came back a long time ago. I think my latency is pretty bad today. Favorite Pokemon game is Black 2. The 5th generation, I think, has the best combination of challenge and... like, it has a good mix of Pokemon. The Black and White, I like the idea of having, like, all new Pokemon for a region, but I like it more when regions have, like, at least 250 Pokemon you can catch. I think regions just are better when they have more Pokemon because it makes it easier to catch different types, makes other Pokemon much more viable, right? So, like, if you have a region where there aren't a lot of Dark or Steel types, like this region, for example, then fighting type Pokemon can't be as good. So I think it's good to have more Pokemon in general, and Black 2 has a lot of Pokemon. I think at least 250 you can catch. Whereas Black 1 and White 1 only have about 150. Something else I really enjoy about Black 2 and White 2 is that you have access to a lot of variety of types in the beginning. So you can get like steel types, electric types, fire types, fighting types, normal types. Like you can get basically almost every single type before the second gym is done. Which again, I think just improves the experience overall. And I think I like how the TMs were switched to, you know, more than one Pokemon can be taught a TM in that generation. I think that's really beneficial for the game as well. Helps you get creative with all of the other Pokemon you can use, right? And it gives Pokemon, some Pokemon that didn't really have viability because of, not having good movesets or whatever. Because of the TMs being reusable now, you can start to make them a little more usable. The speed of Gen 5 is something that's really beneficial. The battles go really fast, which allows you to get more battles in the same amount of time, which makes the game quicker, lets you level up quicker, lets you grind quicker. Overall, speeding up the battle system is just something every single Pokemon game besides 5 should do. 4 is notoriously slow, but 8 is so slow too. And even 7 is kind of slow. So I really think just overall having a quicker battle system is really beneficial for everyone. I'm trying to think why else I like Gen 5. Ironically, I think Gen 5 has probably the worst starter trio. Because they're all kind of meh. They're all just water, grass, and fire, except for we have the firefighting Emboar. But besides that, I think it's really good. Least favorite. So my least favorite region. Okay. Least favorite games is probably Gen 1, just because they're not balanced well. Psychic types are way overpowered in the first region. They're not balanced well. They're really glitchy, really glitchy. You can look on Google, there are hundreds of glitches in that game. And overall just kind of shoddily made. I would say my least favorite recent game, if you take kind of all the glitches out, I think Fire Red and Leaf Green are good games. So I would say the Gen 1, once you get to Fire Red and Leaf Green, is really good. I think overall Sword and Shield are my least favorite games. Just because it's so slow. It's really easy. It's really, the story is just really kid. I get that it's a game that, primarily targets children. But the story is just so, blah. And even the villains, aren't really all that villainous. And it's I thought what they did with, Generation 5 and Generation 7 was really cool, what they did with the story. And just Generation 8 its story was nothing, basically. So I think Generation 8 is probably the weakest out of all the games overall. Generation 1 games, Red, Blue, and Yellow, are the worst because they're a buggy mess. But Gen 8 is the worst overall, I would say. With 6 coming as a close second. 6 is just too easy. Again, the story's kind of blah. Too many rivals, none of whom I cared about. And having it set in France is cool. It just doesn't feel like a finished product. It feels kind of... There's not really an essence to it, if that makes sense. There's not really a vision or an idea behind why they're making it. They just made it. So I would say the same thing about 8, frankly. Sleep powder. Okay, this will be good. I kind of want to keep Tail Whip because no. That might have been a bad move, but I'm getting rid of it because I don't really need it. But yeah, Lap, what's your favorite or least favorite games? I'm interested to hear, because I'm always interested to see how other people think about the series. Because for me, what got you into Pokemon? Good question. Again, sorry if the lag is really low, really behind. My internet's not that good, so I might be very behind on your questions. What got me into Pokemon overall was just first of all, my sister had the Game Boy Color. And I think I was only about 4 or 5 when the first Pokemon games came out. Red, Blue, and Yellow. But so my sister had it because she's a little older than me. I should probably go heal up. But my sister had it, she was a little older than me, and she had a Game Boy. And 2 of my sisters kind of played video games. Not as much as I do, but two of my sisters just played video games a lot. And so I started playing Pokemon because my sister had a Game Boy and I wanted to borrow it, and I thought it was cool. You know, I saw things on TV or whatever, like the original show. So I thought Pokemon was cool and I wanted to try it out. And also, when I got into the Game Boy and Pokemon is when I also got into N64 and Zelda. So I just became like a huge Nintendo fan overall. So I'm like kind of obsessed with Pokemon and Zelda at the same time. I'm gonna try. Ooh, that's not good. There we go. So it has been, it's been like 20 years almost. Oh, over 20 years that I've been playing Pokemon, which is just crazy to me, but it is what it is. If I could evolve this Hoppip, that would make my day. Because I should have let off with Hoppip. I don't know what I'm doing. Certain Shio's god-awful, since that I'm least favorite. I get that. I totally get like not liking black and white. Because it definitely it veers away from like the standard formula in ways that I think can alienate some people. And also the beginning Pokemon of those games are just not all that interesting to me. I like kind of the back half of the Gen 5 Pokedex a little more, which is why I think I prefer Black 2 and White 2. Because they mix it up a little more than the originals do. Stacy! But yeah, I love Platinum too. I never had Platinum growing up. I had Pearl growing up. So I never really knew how Platinum made the games different. And so I think I was so disappointed with Generation 4 just because I only had Pearl and I never had Platinum. But after playing Platinum, like, on, you know, ROMs and stuff, I really enjoy Platinum a lot. And it fixes a lot of the stuff that the original 2 had problems with. Again, it's just like this, the speed of it is it's not like amazing in Platinum, but it's so much better than Pearl and Diamond. Those two games were just so slow. Ugh. And I get some people, you know, especially for little kids, like, it might be better for it to be slow for them, but I think there definitely should be an option for speeding things up beyond just, like, speeding up by not having the animations of the moves. And, like, frankly, the animations of the moves themselves are, like, more interesting than the text. So, like, I don't see why you can't just make the text super fast. Like, there's a lot of ROMs and a lot of hacks and a lot of fan games where you can, like, just, like, the text appears instantaneously. You don't have to, like, button mash or anything to get through it. Or, like, you only have to... Or it's, like, super fast. Which I think, again, improves the whole experience. Yeah, I think Gold and Silver actually have really... Like, I think the reason why Silver as a rival... I think his, like, official name is Silver. Like, the rival. I'm not sure, though. I think part of the reason why I enjoy Silver so much is because, like, it's the first time you really have a Pokemon that or a rival that, like, is explicitly, like, bad. Like, Gary was kind of rude and, like, mean and, like, just, like, overall kind of not a good person, but, like, Silver's legitimately, like, bad. Right, he, like, steals the Pokemon in the beginning. And I just think that's so cool for Pokemon to kind of do that. And that's why I appreciate, you know, some of their choices in the beginning a little more, because they're not necessarily as kid-friendly. Like, if Pokemon started in 2020, I doubt there would even be, like, an evil team part of Pokemon. Because, you know, the brand, it's a brand now, right? They're all about targeting children. And so I feel like, I don't know if they would actually include evil teams. That would be interesting to see. Oh, bye, Stacy. You tried your best. Raptor's coming in to help out. And if we want to talk about evil teams, like, Team Yell in Pokemon Sword and Shield, like Team Yell is literally nothing. Like they exist, and I get the idea of wanting to be like, oh, like the evil team like isn't evil, but there's like so many different ways you could actually do that. Like with Team Skull, like they were kind of evil, but also they were also just kind of like dorks at some point. And so like I think that was a much more effective kind of take on the evil team than Team Yell, which like doesn't really do anything. Like they're punks, I guess, but like they don't actually do any, like the punk town, you don't actually do any, like they don't actually do anything that's actually punk or like against kind of the dominant forces. So like for me it just felt like they were nothing, whereas Team Skull were at least like kind of rude and kind of mean. Speaking of silver, here we go. They tried to just really show the sportsmanship and fanfare of battles. Yes, I will say the gym leader theme for Sword and Shield is really cool, and I really like the idea of oh gosh, Ghastly. This is gonna be interesting. Okay, I think we're gonna have to bring in Raptor here. I will say, like, having the gyms in sports arenas, I think is a really cool, like, variation on gym leaders, and the gym themes is really cool because, like, with Generation 7, they made it so they were kahunas, so it's not quite the same as gym leaders, and then this time around, they had them in huge stadiums, which I think, again, just adds kind of a variation onto something that we have already seen a lot of. We already have seen a lot of gyms, a lot of gym puzzles. And so having it in the stadium makes it really interesting, makes it really engaging. And I actually like the idea of having like a Dynamax in the stadium. That makes sense to me, and I think it works really well within the realm of the game. And like people kind of hate on Dynamax, and I think Dynamax like has its positives and its negatives. It works really well, you know, in the stadiums and that kind of stuff. I think you really feel like the power and the excitement of being in a stadium like that. And actually you can use, I don't think they get used to their full potential in doubles, but Dynamaxes actually can be really good support Pokemon in doubles, which is cool. But so I think Dynamax is a cool addition, but it's not as well thought out as something like Z-moves were. I think Z-moves actually probably, out of like Mega Evolution, Z-moves, and Dynamax, I think I kind of like Z-moves the best. Because like every Pokemon can use them. Oh god. This entire team resists grass. Not good for me. I'm probably gonna die. That's okay. Because Z-moves, like, every Pokemon can use Z-moves. Every, yeah, I'm gonna die very easily here. I'm gonna have to do some more training. The thing I think that's Dynamax, like, only certain Pokemon get Gigantamax, only certain Pokemon get evolutions for their, you know, Mega Evolution. So I think overall it's just kind of more equitable to have a Z-move that every single Pokemon can use, and then you can just have like a couple of Pokemon that have their own personal Z-moves, which I think is a better system. Alright, we're gonna have to do a little training here, because all of my rivals' Pokemon resist Grass-type moves. So I'm hoping we can get Jamie to learn Acid soon. Because Acid is just gonna be some... Oh wait, I didn't check out that TM though. What was that TM? Swift, huh? Alright, none of them can learn Swift. What about Mud Slap? Maybe I can teach it Mud Slap. I want to keep all these moves, though. Alright, I'm going to hold off on it for now. And if we desperately need a ground-type move, I can teach it Mud Slap. This is the worst part of, like, any stream, is just, like, watching somebody grind. So, unfortunately, that is what I have to do right now, because my grass-type Pokemon are just so bad. If a Pokemon would show up, that would be nice. Ugh. Zubat's quad resist me. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to try to take on the gym. We'll see what happens. And I'm going to... Actually, no. We'll keep Jamie in for now. Just to see what happens. I think this is going to be bad. Zubat makes me feel so sad. So, funny story about Zubat. Which actually isn't, like, funny, but it's just... So I was a camp counselor, I think 6 years ago. Yeah, I was a camp counselor 6 years ago. At an arts camp. So it had, like... visual artists, like, it was for middle schoolers and high schoolers. So, like, there were some band kids, there were some music show choir kids, there were some, like, visual art kids. And during Jazz Week, I was talking with all my students, not all the students, but, like, all the campers that I was, like, in charge of looking over. I was talking to them about how Zubat's really bad, because, like, it shows up in every cave, and it's just kind of boring, and I don't really like it. And so these kids... Allie, Slack was 6 years ago. Yes, Slack was 6 years ago. It was 2014. It's almost 7 years since we were counselors. And Allie, I don't know if you remember this, but there were like a group of kids in Jazz Week, I think week 1, but I might be wrong, who made a song called Zubat is So Cool. Coughing. Allie, you missed it, but I did face some coughings. But there were a group of kids who made a song called Zubat is So Cool because I was talking crap about Zubat way back when, and they thought it was funny, and they made a song about how Zubat was cool. So I must have been a cool camp counselor. Oh gosh, sleep powder. I do not remember this. I had a video on it on my old phone, but when I got a new phone, it was deleted. Guffin! Wheeze! That's the wheezing. Okay, so Jamie did not learn Acid, so my next goal is now to evolve Stacy to get her into a Jump Pluff, so I can hopefully just like get some more attack power on it. Allie, you're right, Jazz Kids are so weird. Just high schoolers in general, middle schoolers especially, but like I'll give them a pass because middle school is middle school, but like teaching high school, I love them, but they're so weird. And it's so weird to think that I was in high school like 8 years ago. I was in high school. No, 7 years ago I was in high school. And 2013 is when I graduated high school. So like 7.5 years ago. But like high school kids are just so weird. I love them. But oh my gosh. Yes, that coughing compilation video is classic. No, Stacy, I need you to evolve. Okay. We're gonna bring in Jamie for backup. That wrap is actually doing a lot more than I thought it would, so like wrap's not too shabby. Which is good. And then after this, I'm pretty sure in the Elex Forest is where there is a Oddish. So I can get an Oddish on my team and eventually evolve that into Blossom, which will be good. Although I might want to keep it for Vileplume. I don't know. We'll see. but yeah, I don't know if either of you have ever experienced this, but we were talking a little bit ago about why I like Pokemon so much. And I distinctly remember like watching the Pokemon show, but I was that kind of kid who could like I was never like solidly following a schedule because my sisters were always like going to softball games or whatever. So I could never actually watch Pokemon like consistently on TV. So I would catch just like episodes here and there, but I was never home enough to like actually fully watch all of these, all of the episodes of Pokemon. So when it was on Netflix, that was awesome because I could finally watch all the episodes. And they were all cheesy, but they were cute. Okay. I need Stacy to evolve. I need... Okay, thank God. Because... Such low attack stat. Oh my gosh. Plus, I think Skiploom's kind of cute. Skiploom is underrated. How often as a teacher did you have to hide your political beliefs? A couple of years, like last summer, I had some students of mine actually pop in on a chat. So I don't know if you're a student of mine, Lap, ABA123. You might be. I don't know. How often do I have to hide my political beliefs? Well, the thing is that since I was an English teacher, it was a little easier to like the English program just in general, like, which really isn't about or shouldn't be about like reading books, but is more just about like comprehension and making sure you like understand how people present their arguments and stuff. It kind of ties like English and history when you teach them are just more tied to like overtly political stuff more than any other like thing you teach. So like Allie, who's in the chat here, is a band director, and so like there it's like a lot easier. I wouldn't say easier, but like the issue of politics just doesn't come up in band rooms as much as it does in English classrooms, right? Because like when I'm teaching, like I taught To Kill a Mockingbird, which is an awesome book, and so like there was like a chapter where they were talking about like how their black housemaid like had to travel across town to get to their house because she didn't live nearby. And so there I could talk about how like, in the 50s, redlining happened where like literally towns would say like black people can live here and they can't live here, right? And so I was able to bring that into the classroom and talk about how that still affects people today. And so like in that way I'm not like saying like, oh, this one party is right or this one group is right about this issue, but I can mostly say like, this is an issue that appears in the book and it's still happening today. So I was able to make those connections easy in a way that like didn't make it look like I was trying to indoctrinate anyone, which I really wasn't, right? But I'm able to bring in those facts and that more overtly political stuff as an English teacher than I would if I taught in another field, right? And the same thing goes for me because now I'm a TA at a university, and so I taught a writing course in the fall. And like in college, you get to be even more like overtly again, it's not about my beliefs per se, but you just get to talk about more overtly political stuff. Oh, Allie said modern pieces and diverse composer selection are a huge topic right now. That's awesome. That's great to hear. Like for me, when I had the experience in college, we talked about it, right? Because we talked about how, like Allie, I remember us, we were talking about how, a lot of music areas are like boys clubs and that kind of thing. So like, I didn't really talk about that kind of stuff until we got to college. So it's awesome to see like those are issues that you're discussing with students because I did not have that experience growing up, which I think is awesome on how political I want to be. Yeah, amen to that. Right, and it's the same thing with when I was in high school, I didn't really get to decide what I was going to teach. But when I came to college, where I got to decide more of like what I got to focus on versus what I didn't want to focus on, like I chose more I chose more texts that were like overtly political, or so like I talked in the writing course that I taught. We read an article that was about like how street fashion, like sagging pants and that kind of stuff, that have been like connected to people of color, and how like that connection to people of color makes people think it's worse than it actually is because of racism and all that stuff. And so like even though my theme, which I didn't get to pick, was all about like clothing concerns and how like we can approach the topic of clothing in a bunch of different ways, I was still able to approach it in a way that I chose. So I have a little more freedom to do that at a college level. Of all, which included 12 new band pieces. Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. And that's like literally like the direct action we want to take, And it's funny because like you're just like, I would say in that instance, right, you're like investing in areas or in people who have like traditionally been marginalized, right? You're like directing your money towards composers who haven't been gotten recognition because of who they are. And so I think what happens a lot is people then think you are being political for doing that, where it's not like necessarily about being overtly political, but it's about like giving and like choosing specifically the composers that haven't really been able to sell as many pieces or be, have as many commissions because of who they are and the experiences they have. So depending on who you are, you might think of that as like a political action, even though it's not like directly tied to politics in a way. And so I'm sure there are some people that Allie has encountered who thinks that way, right? And it's just, yeah. I was honestly surprised in high school. I didn't teach in like a super conservative area, but I did teach in an area where there was more like more people who were like, either politics wasn't a big thing for them, they weren't overtly political, they were kind of like center. I never really had any students who were like really fervently like one way or the other, besides one kid who just wanted attention, but there was always kids like that. But I was kind of surprised because I didn't really receive any pushback for any of the stuff that I was teaching or talking about, even when it was more like overtly political, like To Kill a Mockingbird or Brave New World, right, which are like very overtly political books, and we talked about political things. I never got any complaints, which is awesome. I had students who complained just about having to read stuff, but again, when you tell a high schooler to do anything, you get complaints sometimes. Somehow I won. I don't know how. Again, Raptor just helped me out here. Okay, that gives me the Hive badge. I'm just gonna... boop. Now I have the Hive badge, which is awesome. I have 2 of my Pokemon evolved. I honestly didn't expect to get this far until like 5:30. So I'm glad I got it this far. Also, sorry, Allie, the latency is really bad on my end, so I probably see your like responses much later than they show up, but so I'm not sure what all the time is referring to. If it just means like high school kids will be high school kids. Okay, I honestly thought the Bugsy battle was gonna be harder, but this battle with my rival seems to be a little more difficult. I think Raptor is still the only one. I think I might have to start out with Raptor still. High schoolers complain all the time. I love them. I love them so much. I loved it when I taught them. Also, sorry, my PokeLink. I'm using a program called PokeLink to like keep track of the Pokemon in my party. And it seems to be glitching a little bit. That's okay. I think I'm gonna have to start with Raptor this time around to get this Ghastly out right away. Hopefully I don't get paralyzed. It would be very nice to not get paralyzed here with the lick. Thank goodness. Of course. Of course. I do think Lick actually has a high percentage. I think like a 30% chance of paralysis, so I'm not surprised, actually. Okay, Zubat. Were you a fan of Pokemon Go? Yeah, I was for a long time. Well, I shouldn't say a long time, but I was for a little bit. I enjoyed Pokemon Go, especially like the summer of 2016 when it first came out, when everybody was doing it. It was really nice because I over the summer, like after doing the band camp, you know, counselor life. Sorry, there's a siren going by. You might hear it. I'm gonna. So sorry about that if you saw that or heard that. But going back to Pokemon Go, I was I worked with like high schoolers and middle schoolers with disabilities over the summer, so like Down syndrome and that kind of stuff. And 2016, right? We all, like a lot of them were all kind of into Pokemon Go, and so we would go on walks where we would all like bring our Pokemon Go with us and have fun, you know, go take a walk on the park, you know, get them outside, get some exercise while also doing Pokemon Go, which is always fun. But after that, I didn't really, because the school that I went to for college, I went to UW Eau Claire, which like it's like a nice town, but it's not like super urban. Like it has like a lot of residents, but it's just not super urban place, so there weren't a lot of Pokestops there. So when I went back to college after, you know, working in my hometown for the summer, I just didn't really play it all that much, because there wasn't an opportunity to do so. And now I live in Milwaukee, which has a lot better, like more Pokestops, right? But I unfortunately just have gotten out of habit of playing it so much that I just haven't taken it up again. Of course, COVID makes it a lot harder to play too, because you don't want to go outside and get in big groups anymore like you used to. You know, they'd have those big days where you could come, you know, there'd be like 100 people in the park all playing, you know, together to capture Mewtwo or whatever, and can't really have those anymore. So I liked it, but also like mobile gaming is just generally not my thing. I'm more of a PC console kind of guy. Not that there's like anything wrong with console gaming or anything, or mobile gaming or anything like that. Or, you know, people can enjoy it, but it's just not my cup of tea. Okay, now I need to get Farfetch'd. Hopefully I remember how to do this. This is also where I can catch Oddish, so I hope I run into one soon, because I'm going to want to train it up quick. Out of curiosity, are there any content creators you respect or aspire to be more like? That's a great question. So when it comes to Pokemon, I'm actually... I'm a huge Weedle Twineedle fan. I just like how, like, their style, how they edit their videos. I've played on Pokemon Showdown a lot, so it's fun to see, like, the Pokemon Showdown Salt kind of videos. It takes a lot of work to edit those videos together, so it's probably not something I would want to do, or really I would have the time for to do consistently. But I think I really enjoy Weedle Twineedle videos when it comes to Pokemon. I also am just like, I'm not on the competitive end as much as some other. So like, you know, Wolfie is like more of the, he like does like both like more casual and competitive stuff. But I'm much more kind of on like, I'm not as interested in the competitive. I'm more so like playing for casual or doing like Nuzlocke or that kind of thing. So I'm not really big into like the VGC community, not because I think they're bad or anything, but just because it's just not what I find interest in with Pokemon. Like a lot of people enjoy it, and I kind of like it. I like maybe, you know, throwing together a team here and there on Showdown. But I've never been a huge competitive fan, and I just haven't really been a huge like online competitive person, like with any series. So it is what it is. I'm trying to think if there's any other content creators like with Pokemon specifically I enjoy. For a big time, I was a Rapid Luigi fan. I just liked his style of delivery. I love any kind of any accent from the British Isles is always my thing too. So I was a big Rapid Luigi fan for a while. I still follow him and I still watch his videos sometimes, but not as much as I used to. But I'm kind of, because I'm a little younger, or I should say a little older, because I'm a little older and I'm not as much like in the, like I grew up watching most like game developers on YouTube, not on Twitch. So like when Travis and I made this channel, we did it on YouTube and we made it like 4 years ago. And it was really before, Twitch became like a thing, was when we started this channel. So most of what I've viewed comes from YouTube. Yeah, so Weedle to a Needle, I would say, and Rapid Luigi are probably my two big ones. I really like the Jaden animation videos. I know she just came out with Nuzlocke, her Nuzlocke of Platinum. I think Jaden Animations is her name. And that was really fun to watch. And like the original one with Pokemon, Pokemon Emerald was really fun too. And it's cool because she found kind of a different way to interact with Pokemon in a way that other people haven't, or have done, but maybe just not as like professionally as she did it, which I think was cool. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch a Pokemon that can learn Cut, so I don't have to teach Cut to my Grass-type Pokemon. I'm trying to think what else. I also like, I think his name is JR Poketrainer 98, and he gave me the idea for this run because he did a set of videos where it was the best Pokemon types out of every region and the worst Pokemon types of every region. So like with Kanto, the worst type to use is Bug. With Johto, the worst type to use is Grass. I forget with Hoenn, 3rd gen. I think Grass again or Bug, I'm not sure. And so like I also like that, and I've watched some True Green 7 as well, which I like. Loxton and Noggin were fun. I watched them for a little while too, because it's cool to see some of the lore behind Pokemon, you know, and it's fun to like figure out that stuff yourself, but it's also it's fun to like see it in a video format where you can just turn it on while you're making dinner or whatever. Seriously, none of these Pokemon like will be able to learn Cut. I was planning on catching that Paris and maybe even using it, but of course I killed it. There was a while when I was like big on Pokemon YouTube, but over the past few years, because I'm now in like a PhD program, which is crazy, my time just keeps getting less and less, and so like it's fun to watch some of the YouTube videos, but unfortunately I've just gotten out of sync with some of it because all my time's going elsewhere. Yeah, I haven't really gotten into Twitch all that much. If you know anybody, if you have any recommendations about like people I should watch that you think are really good, but maybe don't have like as big a following as they should or whatever, you can definitely leave recommendations. Like the Game Detectives. We don't have as much recognition as we should. And if you're a rep for Ridge Wallet, I can do a Ridge Wallet ad, easy. I have a mic and everything. I can record any kind of ads you need. That is one of the things about like being an online personality that I think would be weird, would be having people like, so I was reading about like TikTok creators recently, and it's just weird to like have other people dictate to you what you like will post online. Like people who are like officially like associated with TikTok. It'll be like the people who are in charge of like a certain department of TikTok will like work with creators to develop videos that they will then post on their TikTok, but it has to look like they themselves made it up, right? So like Bella Porch, for example, the woman who like did the M to the B video that kind of blew up a couple of months ago, you know, she's like, and other TikTok creators that have a lot of followers, like there are people on TikTok telling them what to post. And for me, that would just be like so hard for me to do. Not that I would ever become that famous. Gosh, maybe I'm gonna have to look elsewhere to get a Pokemon that can learn Cut. Oop. I forgot I have a little speed up button. But yeah, if you know of any creators that are really good, feel free to let me know. And I will get on it. I'm gonna catch this Geodude just so I can have a Pokemon that can learn Strength. Did you see the Ratatouille musical last night? I did not. See, I've seen some videos of people like reacting to it, but I haven't actually seen it. I think it's cute, right? I like the idea of people like, not even like people officially associated with TikTok or anything, just kind of coming up with something that they're like interested in and kind of making it as a group, which I think is really cool, right? I think once you start to bring in some of the more like professional personalities, like you get a little more weight behind, you know, what you've created. That's fun too. But it's always really hard to like make something like a musical, even with like, you know, Disney support and with like a bunch of collaborators. It's really hard to like push forward out a product. It's 100% worth the $5 fundraiser for the Actors Fund. Yeah, I heard about that. I was thinking about watching it. I forget if Rattata can learn Cut. I think it can. So I'm gonna catch it and we'll see if it can learn it. If not, it's going in the box. But I think especially like for Gen Zers or, you know, people who are younger than us, it's cool to like see stuff like that, because there would be stuff like this, you know, being developed, maybe not like sanctioned by you know, a company like Disney, but people would make like their own creative work on YouTube or whatever. And so it's cool to like have for Gen Z to kind of have that big thing, you know, that they kind of put their like that their group of people on TikTok like created this thing and actually got some big names to be a part of it. I think that's really cool. And even if like people don't like it, right? Some people might not like it or whatever, or might not be for them. I still think it's something that's cool to have out there. Okay, so Rattata cannot learn Cut, so it is going in the trash. Well, in the box. This is embarrassing. Like, I'm spending like... I've spent like 10 minutes just trying to get a Pokemon that can learn Cut. So this will be fun. Ooh. Here comes Togepi! Maybe Togepi can learn Cut. Ooh, I don't want to give him a Pokemon. Don't want to give him a nickname because he's not going to be officially part of my team. Dang, I can't learn Cut. I'm trying to think where there would be a Pokemon that would learn Cut. Maybe I'll just have to catch another grass type. There we go. Oh wait, Hoppip can't learn Cut, can it? Shoot! Oh, Sandshrew. Sandshrew definitely can. Alright, I'm catching a Sandshrew. And then we're gonna move on. Finally. Allie, it'd be interesting to see if your students like know about the musical, have like seen it or are talking about it. Like once you get back from break, it might be cool to see if they've watched it or have been following it, because I'm sure a lot of them have been. Finally, we have a Pokemon that can learn Cut. So we are gonna deposit Togepi and Geodude then. We do not need them right now. And I want to give... I guarantee my... Yeah, high school theater kids, they're gonna know. They are gonna know. I think... Yeah. It says I have 3 Sandshrew in my party. I do not have 3 Sandshrew in my party. I only have 1. Finally, I can get through here. Thank goodness. It'll be interesting to see if anything else like Ratatouille the Musical happens. Like, I wonder now that it was like a thing, it officially came out, it was like, I would say it was probably successful in terms of like raising money. Like, I don't know how successful, but I bet it was in some way, shape, or form. So like, I wonder if there'll be more people inspired to do that sort of thing. I know something I've been seeing is that people were kind of surprised that there weren't more like puppets, or I'm sure again it would have been really difficult to do in a pandemic, but some people were saying like they could have reached out to people to like do more puppets or like animatronics or that kind of thing, which might have been cute. Okay, I'm pretty sure. Actually, I might need to teach my jump pluff headbutt. We'll see if that happens, if it can learn headbutt. Because I just like anything to get it more power is going to be beneficial for it. Okay. Stacy's going to learn headbutt. And we're going to be good. And I think I can catch a Paris, if I'm not mistaken, by using headbutt. So I might do that. I thought Oddish was in here too, but apparently it's not in Elex Forest. I don't know. Might have to go on Cerebi. Figure that out. Alright, Jamie is doing well. It just needs to learn Acid soon, preferably. Isn't this game for little kids? Yes, this game is for little kids. It's for the young at heart and the young. This game is for little kids. It's true. It's for little kids. But you know what? We're having fun. We're enjoying it. Is what it is. Okay, bringing out Paris now. I feel like I should catch one of those. They might be beneficial. But also that bug grass dual type is not going to be doing me any favors. Because there's no good moves for either type. I think I'm going to pass on the Paris. I don't think it's going to be beneficial at all. I just like don't understand trolls. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand people. I just don't like, why do people spend their time trying to like troll others? I don't understand. I feel like there's so many better things to do in the world. It's like, if you don't like my content, just get out of here. Thanks, Allie. You got my back. You got me. Because I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm too lazy on my end. Richard, I haven't seen anything bad from you, but we're getting some of our lovely, lovely participants out of here. I haven't played Pokemon. This isn't justice. To answer your question, Richard, I do not play Pokemon Crystal all that much, no. But I thought this one would be fun to play. I saw a video a little while ago that JR Pokemon Trainer 98 did, where he went through the worst Pokemon types of every region. Yeah. But anyway, so he said that grass was the worst type for Pokemon Crystal, and I hadn't played this game in so long that I thought it would just be fun to do a run-through of Pokemon Crystal using all grass-type Pokemon, just because I haven't played the game in a really long time. Plus, it's just fun. It's fun to revisit some of your old games. When I get famous, Allie will be my chat moderator. Allie, you are no longer going to be a band teacher. You're just going to be my chat moderator. You're going to be my mod, and that's all I need you to do in life. Robert. Rip my life. My heart. Oh well. I did not go to Florida State. Nope. Just a second. Figuring out something on my end. Doing a little pause break. Whoop. Not what I wanted to do. There we go. No, I did not go to Florida State. Allie can vouch for me. We went to college together. And I would definitely, this is no offense to you, Richard, I would definitely not be in a frat. That is not my vibe. Not my vibe at all. If I was a frat boy, like the closest I ever got was we had a fraternity on my campus of all like musicians who were men. There was a woman's sorority and a men's fraternity that was all like musical musicians, choir people, orchestra, band, and some people asked me to join that, and even that I'm like, I could not do. Even the nerdiest frat I could not do because it is just not my style at all. Is this? No, neither. None of the above. Allie, I feel kind of famous now. This is the first time I've ever been, like... I've ever been trolled. You know what? It's my stepping stone to internet celebrity. You gotta stomp on a few trolls on the way up to the top, don't ya? Yeah, Skeg is not a thing. Outside of Eau Claire, Skeg is not a thing. So, I am definitely not a frat boy. Or sorority sister. Or anybody who is into Greek life. There is a cool sorority down here in Milwaukee that I worked with. I forget what their official title is, like what their Greek letters are, but it's like a Latinx or Latina and like a woman of color for sorority, basically. And they do a lot of great stuff. I worked with them a lot when I was the manager of the cinema. We did some screenings together. I think Gina is the one who gives me the leaf stone if I chat with her. So here's hoping that she can get me one, because I will need to evolve my Weeping Bell into a Victory Bell as soon as I can. Because, again, the only way you can actually access it outside of Gina is if you pick it up in the game, and that is only available in Kanto. So I wouldn't be able to evolve Weeping Bell until like level 50, which is definitely not good. We want our Pokemon fully evolved as much as possible because they're already fighting a very uphill battle. Actually, none of the people in here give me anything. I don't know why I'm wasting my time. I'm going over to the mart to see if I can buy any TMs that'll help out my team. Because, good lord, it needs it. It needs as much help as it can get. I don't think any of my Pokemon can learn any of these punch moves, if I'm not mistaken. I will buy Headbutt again, though, because it's better for Bayleaf to learn Headbutt. Headbutt is better than Tackle, so that's always good. I'm really afraid to, Oh, now my Pokelink is all messed up again. I don't have Charmander or Wartortle on my team. Maybe if I open up my Pokemon list again, it'll be good. No, it does not seem to like that. Maybe it only likes it if you have 6 Pokemon on your team. Let me try this. Oh, actually, I might need to do that. Nope, still not working. That's okay. Is what it is. Alright, so I think I'm gonna battle Underground. I'll probably go through the Underground here, and then I'm probably gonna call it a day. Hopefully I can get another attacking move on this Bellsprout. Then we'll call it good. Okay, Grimer's gonna be a little bit of a struggle for me. Yeah, the worst thing for me to face is a high defense poison type Pokemon, because they are just gonna wreck my team. There we go. I'm gonna have to figure out for next time how to get this PokeLink to work again, because I don't know how. It's not working well. Okay. There's that. Actually, let me check my options quick. I might have turned the scene off. There we go. I think this game's fast enough where I can turn the scene on and it won't slow me down too much. Don't need to worry about getting my Pokemon happy. I love how in this one that I'm playing, all the black just turns to a random texture once you start talking to someone. Lord. I love glitchy stuff, what can I say? Luckily, all of the Pokemon are really low level right now, so I can defeat them pretty easily at this point. The chat was wild and out. It was my first time I've ever had somebody like bomb my chat. Which, you know, people just always want to tear celebrities down, don't they? They just really want to make famous people feel bad. No, it's funny because it's like our YouTube channel has like 300 subscribers, if that. So it's like, how did these random people like find my little chat to come like troll in? It's the haters. The haters, they're praying for my downfall. The very low pedestal of 200, they won't even let me get that. They feel so fervently about me. Ooh, actually, it probably wasn't the best idea to bring out Stacy. That's okay. Nah, they don't bug me. Alright, one of the things, Allie can attest to this, when you start teaching high school or middle school, you get a thick, like, you learn how to roll with the punches. So, you know, like, literally the first week of high school, I was like, I can't teach these kids, I can't do anything. And then, like, you learn how to roll with the punches. Internet trolls cannot make me feel bad about anything, ever. Like, if I can handle people that see me day in and day out making fun of me, I can handle online people making fun of me. And the plus side is, I figured out how to block messages. I can't do it in OBS for some reason, but I can do it on YouTube. So I figured out how to block messages. Which is fun. Children can be cruel. High schoolers can be cruel, but most people are fine. It's just the bad people get all the attention, which is unfortunate. Alright, I'm going to go heal my Pokemon, and I think I'm going to call it a day. I don't know, I feel like overall it was a pretty successful day. Got much farther than I thought I was. I thought I was going to have to train myself a lot more to beat Bugsy, but we're doing well. So next time, I'm going to take on Whitney and her infamous Miltank. Hopefully we are able to beat her. So thanks everybody for joining. And Allie and Lap, I'm just going to call you Lap. To remember you. So thanks for joining, and have a good rest of your night. And I'm probably going to stream tomorrow at some point. Why not? I don't have anything to do. It's school break, so see you then.